Welcome everyone, hope you're having a very wonderful day, and welcome to my guide for water buffalo for Sundarpatan. Before we begin, I want to quickly break down how today's guide is going to work. So our first section, we'll be covering their hotspots and locations, and then we're going to move on to weapon recommendations, and then end today's video with the animal profile, which is a custom map, time zones, ammo chart, and more. Everything you need to make your hunting life 10 times easier. So let's get right into it with today's video. With their drinking time, these guys drink between 12 to 15. As in terms of their hotspots and locations, let's open up our map really quick so I can go over that with you guys. So we're going to be going up here to the right hand side of the map. We're going to be starting at the most northern section for the water buffalo. So as we zoom in here, we have this outpost right here, and then we have this little hunt structure here, and to the left of that we have the northernmost point for water buffalo. To the right of it is this little series of chain of lakes. Now they do not reside there whatsoever, but this is the northernmost point, so keep that in mind if you're trying to look for all your water buffalo zones. Moving off down to the bottom of it though, we have this series of lakes here, which I believe is about 6 lakes altogether. Now out of the 6, 5 will house water buffalo. The northernmost one over here on the right does not house any whatsoever. I've tried to see if any singles spawn there, but I've not gotten any to spawn. But out of the 5 lakes, this one here where I'm at today is one of the best hotspots for them, which we're going to quickly exit the map just so I can show you guys what I mean. We have at least maybe about 30 water buffalo at this lake currently at this time, and I believe this is about 3 to 4 groups stacked on top of each other. And then off to the right we have another group of 4 or 5 that are residing over there as well, and then we have a single off to my left. Now we're going to open up the map again really quick, and we're going to keep going to the left hand side here where we have this lake down here close to the river's edge. I marked this as a hotspot. This is a really good lake as well. I have at least 4 groups of water buffalo stacked on top of each other there as well. And then moving off to the left here, this is the final group of lakes, or the actual final 3 group of lakes here on this side of the river that can house water buffalo. The one on the right here, the bottom right hand corner, is the best. I marked that down as a hotspot, and I've gotten attacked quite a few times from like large groups of them over there as well. And I think I've also snagged a level 9 at that lake as well, so I do recommend checking it out. Very solid choice and easy to farm them due to the access of the outpost being between these 2 lakes. Up here, I did not actually know that this was a zone for water buffalo, but you can get them here. I don't have their zone at all whatever marked on the lake because I kept coming up there to scare them, and I tried to get the zone, but they just did not settle for me to pick it up, but they do go there, so I do recommend checking that out. Now coming off down here below this outpost, we have this little elbow here on this side of the river. Now this is the northern stretch of the river, or at least the upper side of the river, however I'm trying to explain this. This is the furthest point that you can get these water buffalo to come out here. I've not seen them go past this elbow whatsoever, but if we come down off to the bottom portion, come off over here to the right hand side where we have this little dotted trail that leads to the river section. This is the furthest location in terms of the river for them on the bottom half. I've not seen them come off over here whatsoever on the bottom portion. I've tried searching, seeing if any singles have spawned, but none whatsoever. And then coming off over here to the right hand side, we have our final series of lakes here, these 3. All of them are pretty solid locations, however the one on the right is the best. It's the largest lake of the 3 and houses the most amount of zones in terms of water buffalo, so I recommend checking that one out as well. So that's pretty much it for their hotspots and locations, so I'm going to head over back to the outpost so we can go over a few weapons I like to hunt these guys with. So I'll see you guys there in just a second. Alrighty folks, so here we are back at the outpost. Before we begin, I want to mention quickly 3 things. First things first is I'm only going to be covering rifles, handguns, and shotguns. I'll not be covering bows because I'm not a bow expert, so I'll leave that to professionals. Secondly, these are just my personal recommendations and favorites. I always say go out there and explore and see what suits you and what you enjoy playing with. And then lastly, I'll be mentioning whatever DLC these weapons come from in case you want to pick them up for yourself. So let's get right into it with our first rifle on today's video. The 300 mag tactical is a very solid choice and the only semi-auto option in terms of dealing with big game in Call of the Wild. You have 5 rounds in there. The recoil is pretty manageable if you put your perk points into rifling to handle that recoil. It's a very excellent choice and probably one of my favorites in terms of dealing with these water buffalo and even yaks that reside on this map, and you can find it in the high caliber weapon pack DLC. Moving on to our second rifle here on today's list. We should see it here any second now. The LRR338. Now this thing does pack a little bit more punch than the 300. It's very doable, very solid, but it's like the bottom of the 3 rifles in today's video in terms of, I guess, just usability, because the top rifle that I'm going to be covering after this does a lot of damage, drops them pretty easily, and then 300 does less damage, but it's semi-auto and gets the job done as well. But the 338, it has power. It doesn't drop as quick as the 375, which we're going to be talking about in a second, but it's just still a decent rifle. This is what I used before the 300. I enjoyed it. It's not a bad rifle. I'm not here to shame the rifle or anything, but between the 3 rifles on today's list, this is definitely the bottom of the tier, but I still like it nonetheless, and you can find it in the Hunter Power Pack DLC. Moving on to our third and final rifle, the 375. Now this is the top tier rifle. I put this above the 300, even though the 300 is semi-automatic, even though this thing has 4 rounds in it. It's just due to the killing power that this thing has. It drops them a lot quicker. I like it a lot more, and it just is a very overall excellent, accurate rifle. And you can find it in the Hunter's Choice Bolt Action Rifle Pack. Moving on to handguns here. Now, originally I was going to cover the 4570 German Superior because it's one of the best pistols in Call of the Wild. However, I consider the Water Buffalo to be more aggressive than most of the other animals in this game. I list them up there with the Cape Buffalo in terms of charging you a lot. It's kind of shocking because while I was trying to make this video multiple times, I kept getting charged by Water Buffalo left and right. I didn't even get that treatment with the Yaks, but these guys, super aggressive, so I'm going to come down here and recommend the Rhino 454. It's a base game handgun. You have 5 rounds in there. It definitely does the job to drop these Yaks, these Water Buffalo and Yaks with relative ease. I don't have it because I have the free version, but I also typically only use shotguns in terms of dealing with these guys when they come up on me like that. But if you need a pistol, the Rhino 454 will definitely do the job for you. Moving on to shotguns, there's only one shotgun that I think is the perfect gun for dealing with these Water Buffalo. If we come down here, it's right here, I passed it. The Strandberg 10 gauge is the best high-power shotgun in Call of the Wild. You have 4 rounds in the tube, semi-automatic. Put some slugs in this sucker and go to town. They will come to you with ease, or even put a rifle scope on it or a shotgun scope on it and pick them off with the slugs. But honestly, I would just use the rifle and then use this for self-defense. But you can find this bad boy in the high caliber weapon pack as well. So that pretty much does it for the weapon recommendation part, guys. So I'm going to head over to the animal profile and see you guys there in just a second. And here we are, folks, at the end of today's video. Before I let you guys go, I'm going to do a quick animal profile breakdown. Starting on the left-hand side, we have all of our basic Water Buffalo information. We have our class, difficulty, silver, gold, and diamond threshold. We have our weight from least to greatest in kilograms and in pounds. We have our fur types from common, uncommon, rare, and very rare. Moving on to the center of the map here, we've pretty much covered all that information at the beginning of today's video. Moving on top right-hand corner, we have all of our time zones nice and organized for you. And then below that, we have our ammo chart for those full entirety kills. So that pretty much does it for today's video, folks. If you did enjoy this guide, please drop a like. It really helps out the channel. And with all the way, I hope you guys have a very wonderful day. Happy hunting, good luck, and I will see you guys in the next one.